In the previous video, we set the state machine and the animations are starting to work, but they are not looking perfectly yet. The character looks like it is sliding before starting to run, and it takes a long time or take extra steps before stopping. So what we'll do now is taking these animations, create a copy of them, and trim them until they look perfect. This is the Game Creator Accelerator channel, and I am Tony Munoz. This project is part of a game that I'm creating named Ludoria. This is a third-person shooter, and all the code that I am using and the entire process that I'm taking from zero to create this game is at your reach. Check out in the description because all links are there. Hit like, subscribe, ring the bell, share with a friend, make a comment. Help me spread the word about this sensational game, but also to inspire others to take the path in the gaming industry and showing that, yeah, you need to know some technical things, but also you need to set the strategies to have a successful career in video games. And this is what this channel is about. But if you want to take a step further, visit woodoon.com and learn more about the Game Creator Accelerator Lifetime Mentorship Program, where I'll take you from zero to start prototyping your first video game, but also to prepare yourself not only to find job opportunities today, but to set a business in the long term so you can build your own studio. What can be better than retiring doing video games? And also, you can set a time to chat with me one-on-one and figure out together if the Game Creator Accelerator is what you need to move your career forward. Now, let's get started. Let's start by presenting what is the current situation with the game. If I move, as you can see, we're sliding a little bit before starting, and if I stop, the character continues trying to run before stopping. And as you can imagine, the way of solving this problem is using trimming animations. This is happening because we are playing the entire animation associated with the state, and we need to trim them. But first, I'm going to reorder some of my files inside the project. The first thing I want to do is to create a folder that will be associated with the blueprints, the character, and the animations for one player. That way, every time that I create a new player, I can create a new folder and keep that classification. Inside the main character, right-click, select new folder, and let's call this one Wraith. Now let's take the animation blueprint and the base character blueprint and drag them inside the Wraith. Move here. Let's open Wraith folder and now add a new folder named Animations. This will be all the animations of this character that I'm going to work throughout my entire project. That way, if I copy an animation from another source and I destroy the animation at some point, I can go back to the original and then copy again in this folder. Next, let's open the animation blueprint we created in the previous lesson. Go to the ground movement, and as you can remember, we add animations for idle, jog begin, run, and jog finish. I want to add new animations that will be the copy, and these animations will be trimmed. Go to Map, and inside Paragon Wraith, go to Characters, Heroes, Wraith, Animations. Filter by jog, forward, and Unreal already pre-classified animations that you use with these black boxes. So I'm going to take the stop, leave the control down to pick start as well, and the jog forward. And let's drag them inside the animation folder. Different to what we did previously, I'm not going to move it here, I'm going to copy here. And the other animation I want to add is the idle non-combat. This one that is in black as well. Drag it inside animations and copy. Now open the animation folder. Here we have the copy of our animations. At this point, we have these animations replicated in two different folders, which can create some confusion in the future. So I'm going to add an extra element in the description of these animations so I can identify it easily from the original ones. Let's take the first one, rename, and add at the end GB, which for me is game version. It can be anything for you guys. What is important is that you can differentiate these animations from the original ones. Now we have all animations and they are finishing in GB. Let's go back to the animation blueprint. And first off, let's change these animations to the ones that are finishing on GB. Idle non-combat, then I'm going to drag this idle non-combat connected here. Jog begin, forward start, drag it here, remove this one. Run is the forward, finishing with GB. And jog finish or forward stop. Drag it here. It compiles. I can save. And let's test that nothing has changed. I have a potential reason why this is happening. Let's go back to the character, in fact, inside games, and let's open the game mode with design in previous lessons. And this is the problem. The default pawn class is set to none. I don't know why this game changed it, or the Unreal changed it, but we have to set it to our character. Our character is the blueprint, select it, and now use this arrow. Compile, save, and let's test now. Okay, that's better. And it's working as we expect because we just changed the animations and renamed them. It's a copy of the originals. Now, as Anakin said in Star Wars, this is where the fun begins. Let's start when the character starts jogging. Look at this. He's kind of sliding before starting and then starts moving. It's like if he will be skating, which is not the case. Open the animation blueprint. Let's go to the jog begin. And now let's open this animation. On the bottom of the animation, you can see all the frames. In fact, you can stop the frames and you can go one frame at a time, or you can continue the animation to the beginning or the end. And of course, you can replay it or you can go backwards. You can also use the mouse to go directly. Sometimes, I don't know, get kind of stuck, but yeah, I don't know how to explain that. If you move through the different frames on the animation, you can see that at the beginning, it takes a lot of time before the character taking the first steps. And then it continues taking a lot of steps once it is already running. And we don't want that. The next steps will be handled on the run animation, not on the jog forward start animation. So what we'll do is that we are going to remove some of these frames from this animation. Let's start by removing the ending frames. So let's begin 0. It takes one step, and here, I would say someplace around here. I think the 29 could be good. And once you place on the frame where you want to cut the animation forward, you can right click and then select remove frames in range 31 to 69, which remove all the forward animations, or remove frames from 0 to 30, which are the beginning frames in the animation. At this point, I'm going to remove the frames from the 31 to the 69. So if now we play the animation, you will see that finishes here. But I think that there are too many steps yet. If you want to go in detail in the animation, use the control and the mouse wheel, and you can increase the space to watch all the frames that you want. And let's say I want to go a frame before this one, and let me check the steps. I think the steps will help me a lot. Yeah, I think I'm going to remove one more frame. In this case, I will remove frames in range of 30 to 30. Let's see now the animation. I think it's okay. I think this is where I want the animation to be. Let's save our current changes, go to map, and test it and see how it translates from the movement from the starting to the running. Oh, as you can see, it looks like it makes some kind of a jump. So this is about adjusting the animation as much as you can. And it's also why we keep a copy of the original animation in case we screw something up. Let me get inside this animation and getting closer to the end, which will be here. And probably I'm going to move it, let's say a position like this one, because it's taking the next step. I want to place the step like in a place here. And now let's remove from 28 to 29. Save. A bit better, but I think I can still remove a bit of the animations. So let me move, let me go to the end. Let's see a place like this one. Remove frames 27 to 27. Save. Test. I think that I still have to work on it, but now you have an idea of how to make it look perfect. You have to play with these values until you find the one that is making look perfect your animation. After testing for several minutes, I found that the perfect place to cut the animation was here. Let me see. In the frame 35, 1.17. Now, if I test the animation, look at this. It makes a nice transition to the running from here, and also if I set from forward. Now let's cut the sliding part, which will be at the beginning of the animation. When we start the animation, it takes a lot of time before taking the first step. So I want to cut all this and trying to focus on the first step. So let's start from a value a bit lower, let's say like 8, where I feel that the character is really starting to move. Right click, and instead of removing the last frames, I'm going to remove the ones at the beginning, 0 to 9. Save. Let's test. Looking good. Let's go to the other side. Looking good. Let's go to front. Yeah, I think it's looking very good. And backwards. Excellent. Next, let's fix when you stop. When I release the key, the character is still running a little bit and then stopping. I don't want that. Let's go back to our state machine and look for the yacht finish. Open the new animation. If you play the animation, you will see that it's taking a lot of steps before stopping. So let's remove all these steps. Let's try to go straight to the point where he decides to stop. I would say a place around this point is where it really stops. Yeah, I think it will be here. Around 27 or frame 27. Right click and remove from 0 to 28. Let's test this. Okay, start running. Stop. Good. Again. Excellent. Other direction. Front. Is looking fantastic. And finally, there is an extra thing. Let me test it so I can show you. If I start running, after a certain time, the character stops animating. It is like we will be skating. And yeah, we don't want this effect. It looks cool, but it is not what I want. The reason why this is happening is inside the state machine. In the state of run, open it, select the animation, and you will see inside the details a parameter which is loop animation. Enable this one. That makes that Once the animation finishes, start again, looping. Compile, save, and test. Yeah, now it is working consistently and no, it's not freezing. Now, there is this situation with my game and the perspective of a third-person shooter, which is that if I want to aim into a direction and hitting, I usually want the camera to be behind the character. So I don't want the character to turn to right or left when I am shooting. That makes more sense when we're talking about adventure games that you're using a sword and you are going to kill the characters around you. But in this case, I want something more like this. Look that the camera is following the character. And when we get into the action, from all the perspective, I can move around and also aim. But if I decided to turn to right or left, the aiming will be a tricky element to achieve. Which takes us to, well, even though I love the fact that I can move my character in different directions and look all these fantastic animations of my player, I need more control when I'm aiming and trying to shoot. And after all, this is a third-person shooter. So my goal is that when I turn the character, the camera will turn with it. Let's check one old parameter that we set in our class. Open the shooter character class. Check these parameters. I'm going to make two changes. The first one is that the yaw will be true now, and the pitch will be false. Let's save and go back to Unreal to check this effect. Let me compile. And let's go to the blueprint character and confirm that these values are set. Look for controller rotation, and we want the yaw to be true and the pitch to be false. Compile, save. And now if I move the camera, I can go over my character. If I move the character moves with the camera, which is good. But if I go to the right, look that the animation is not perfect at this point. But this is what I want. I want the character all the time to look front of him. Because if I want to shoot something that is in front of me, I want the character to keep this perspective even more if I want to aim. Don't worry, these things with the animations will be fixed afterwards. And this is all for today, and as you can see, Ludoria is advancing, and at every step, you're learning how to create your third-person shooter video game. Like, subscribe, share, and comment. I want to know what you're doing. What are you planning to create with a third-person shooter? And spread the word so you can help me reach more audience, so we can play great games together. And remember to visit woolen.com to learn more about the Game Creator Accelerator mentorship program. It might change your perspective, and it might change your life. Until next time, keep creating, keep sharing, and most importantly, keep dreaming big. I'll see you soon, my fellow creators.